Hey, what's up out there? It's David Duford here at davidduford.com, where I help insurance agents like you become top producing insurance professionals. And today I've got a great interview installment. I'm meeting with Mr. Luis Moreno. Say hello, Luis. How you doing?
Guys, how y'all doing?
Yeah, Luis is here to tell us about Medicare Advantage and the new program that he's rolling out to help agents around the nation write more of their leads as Medicare Advantage. So let me tell you a little bit about Luis. Luis has been an insurance agent in Texas since 2011. He's worked both with Mutual of Omaha as well as Farmers Insurance, and worked his way as a specialist into the healthcare business with a focus on Medicare insurance. He's also ex-military. He manages a team of agents and also teaches, of course, how to sell Medicare to them. Personally, he's written over 900 Medicare Advantage plans himself. And like I said, teaches other agents how to do them. And that's why we're here today. So let's jump right in. I like to start with the basics, Luis. So I'm sure there's a lot of people who have heard about Medicare. Maybe they're brand new agents or somewhat experienced in the business of selling insurance. So could you give us just a basic overview of what Medicare Advantage is?
So Medicare Advantage. So when somebody has Medicare, they're normally 65 and over. You do have a segment of the population that is under 65 that gets Medicare. And these are usually people that are disabled. But once they're on Medicare, people have two choices. They can either go with option one or option two. What we're going to be talking today about is one of the options. There's not a good or a bad, but it's Medicare Advantage. And what it is, it's a plan that helps fill the gaps that Medicare has. The other option is a Medicare supplement, but our focus today is going to be on Medicare Advantage. And it is just a plan that completes what Medicare lacks, is what it does. So all the major carriers are part of it. You got the Uniteds, you've got the Blue Crosses, you've got the Aetnas, the Humanas. They all offer a product, but it is just very simply a plan that helps fill in the gaps that Medicare has.
So explain to us, as an agent who's interested in Medicare, what the opportunity is to actually sell a Medicare Advantage plan to his clients. Why would an agent want to consider operating in this niche?
Yeah, right now with Medicare and with our aging population, the latest statistics show that there are 10,000 seniors a day turning 65. Most of these seniors are going to get their coverage outside of a retirement plan. Now you'll have your military that's going to get TRICARE. You'll have some seniors that work for a company and they're going to have their retirement benefits with the city or with a teacher retirement system. But outside of that, you'll have seniors that are enrolling in Medicare and need to find a plan. That's 10,000 seniors a day that need help. The problem is that there's so many plans that they can enroll in that a lot of times when I've gone into a senior's house and look at the amount of mail, typically about a foot of mail from every carrier out there, along with them being solicited, called, that they need to enroll in Medicare and need to find a plan. A lot of these guys don't make a decision because they're afraid to choose the plan. They're afraid to enroll in the wrong plan. So they need our help. They really need our help in helping them guide them or steer them into the correct plan that's going to fit their needs, have their doctors in the network, and cover their medications that they're currently taking. So 10,000 a day, that's a huge number. And from what I understand is that as the years go on, that 10,000 is going to increase. We've got more and more seniors turning 65. So it's a great market, a great opportunity. I mean, it is probably the best time to enroll or sell Medicare Advantage. And then one more thing, you got a lot of agents retiring, getting out of the business. So that's good for us agents that are in the field selling. We got more opportunity.
Yeah, I'll add in here, you know, the average age of an insurance agent today is 60 years old. these guys aren't going to work forever, right? They want to, be put to pasture, enjoy their boomer retirement years. After all, they've been working hard. And I'll add too, the other thing, Luis, is that not only are they all retiring quickly or retire close to retirement age, but there's not as many agents as a annual amount refilling those. So the amount of agents necessary to service a multi-million, size market like this is going to be even starker. The contrast is going to, so the demand's going to be higher for an agent. I mean, wouldn't you agree that would be the case?
I completely agree. That's just more business for us. I want more than to retire. And so we're being put into a very good situation. It's a target rich environment. We just need to become knowledgeable in the products and offer it to the seniors that we're working with already.
So, a lot of agents will look into this, and this is kind of my concern. When I started in final expense, you can't help but to eventually see Medicare. It's the first person you see who's probably got Medicare. And you do a little research and hear around from other agents, and you hear that, I like Medicare supplements, but Medicare Advantage, it's difficult. It's hard. Could you kind of expand on that? Is that really the case? Is Medicare Advantage a complex sale? Is it a simple sale? Kind of explain to somebody new, possibly looking into this, kind of the realities of selling Medicare Advantage.
Gotcha. When we compare MedSups to Medicare Advantage, the Advantage is a little more complicated sale. And for one reason, on the Medicare supplements, you don't have to worry about a network. That's it. There's no network. You go to any doctor, any specialist, any hospital system that accepts Medicare, and they're fine with their MedSup. So that part of the complexities of selling one or the other plan is taken out when you're dealing with Medicare supplements. Now, let's get to the complexity on the Medicare Advantage. How complex is it? It's not that hard. What you've got to do is talk to the insured. You've got to figure out what doctors are seeing, what specialists are seeing, and all you've got to do is check the provider list, which is online, and make sure that their doctors are in network. It's not that hard. I mean, most people are going to have a couple of doctors. A healthy one will have maybe their primary, but the unhealthy will have maybe their endocrinologist. They'll have a cardiologist, a couple of specialists, and all you've got to do is check the provider list, and that's it. As long as you've done that, you've done your CYA. Now, the other portion of Medicare sales, or the difference between a supplement and an Advantage plan, is you have a prescription portion. Okay, so you've got to sell a prescription drug plan with a Medicare supplement, or in a Medicare Advantage, it's included in there. Those two products are identical. The copays per carrier may be a little bit different, but they function the same way. All you've got to do there is pull up the formulary, which is usually in a PDF, and just do the search for the medications and make sure they're in there. So is it that complex? Is it hard? No, you just got to do a little bit of homework. Now, you final expense agents, you already got a list of medications. You've got to ask for that for your underwriting. So you've already got the list of meds. So it shouldn't be that hard making that transition to Medicare. And
so it sounds like, and this is kind of what I'm hearing, when I think someone says, oh, Medicare Advantage is hard, it's not that it's difficult to sell in the sense of persuading somebody into buying it, because these people, most likely, they all have to have Medicare, right? So they're all kind of prospects in a way. And I guess what you're saying is you just have to find the right plan. Like, a lot of it's just doing the service. It's just adding value. You're not having to talk people into these plans. This isn't some kind of like hard sale or anything like that. Is that kind of like what you're saying?
It is the easiest sale, in my opinion. First of all, normally most of these plans do not have a premium, so you're not asking for money. I mean, that's great. You're going to get paid a commission on a product that you don't have to ask money for. So the the service that you're providing is you're going to have a handful of plans, and you're going to fit your prospect into one of those 5 plans. And what I tell my agents is, you got 5 plans. They all pay the same. So there's really no incentive to go with one or the other. What you're doing for that customer, that prospect that you're sitting with, is you're trying to stick them into the right plan based on their doctors, based on their specialist, and based on the prescriptions that they're taking. That's how you do your analysis and breakdown and start narrowing down the plans. Now, if it turns out that 2 out of the 5 cover all their doctors and all their meds, then go with your go-to company. Go with the one that you feel strongly about, and one that's a big name brand that you're comfortable with, and then that's how you would choose between those 2.
So what's the process for somebody who, let's say they're interested in selling Medicare Advantage? What's the process for them to actually be able to sell it? It's not just alone to get a health insurance license, right? There's more to it. Can you explain?
There is. So first of all, you final expense guys already have a life and health license. So that's step number 1. You got to have your license. Once you're licensed, there is some certifications that need to be done. Okay, so in our world, or in your world, in the final expense world, you get a contract with the carrier, and you're good to start selling that product. In the Medicare world, you're going to get a contract with a carrier. Once you're contracted with that carrier, every year that you are selling Medicare Advantage, you're going to have to take a certification test. It's called AHIP. A lot of people freak out. Oh, it's so hard. Well, it's Medicare 101. You need to know the product that you're selling. So it is, don't view it as like, God, I got to take another test. No, it is a 5-module certification test that teaches you everything about Medicare. It gives you a very good foundation on what products you're going to be selling. Okay, so you got to take the AHIP. You got to pass it. Okay, once you get that AHIP done, then you've done about 70% of your certifications. After AHIP is completed, each carrier that you're appointed with wants to make sure that you know their product. So you're going to have certifications that you'll have to take with each carrier in reference to the products that they offer. So you'll take a test for if we're going to talk about United, you'll take a test for their ARP product. You'll take a test for their Medi product, which is the dual plan, the chronic plan. So you'll take some product knowledge tests, and once you've certified and passed those tests, then they give you the green light to sell. At that point, you order your kits and you're ready to rock and roll. Now, certifications in AHIP have to be done every year. They're usually, so if somebody's wanting to come in right now, they're going to have to get it done for 2019. In July or August, the certifications will come out for 2020. And it's just a yearly thing that you're going to have to do. And
I guess one thing to look at it, one way to look at it, Luis, is that when you take these, correct me if I'm wrong, when you take these certifications, especially with the carriers, you're learning all the intricacies of the product, right? I mean, you're getting the technical product training you would have otherwise gotten, so that when you get out in the field, you can represent and actually sell these plans efficiently. So, I mean, yeah, you got to take tests and stuff, but if you look at it on the bright side, it prepares you to be effective when you're actually seeing prospects. Wouldn't you agree?
100% agree. Yes. So yeah, those courses that you're taking on those carrier sites are specific to the plans in your area. So it's not just broad general knowledge. It is knowledge on the plan that you're selling. So at the bare minimum, you're going to be very knowledgeable on that one plan. So, it's not knowledge that you got to memorize. Once you're certified, you got the book. I can't memorize all the plans that are out there, but what I do, once I've narrowed it down to what plans I'm going to recommend, I open up my booklet and it's all there. And so the summary of benefits, I use the summary of benefits in all my sales to explain the plan.
So let's shift gears here and talk about the brokerage or carrier selection strategy. You know, I teach agents in the life insurance business to be independent and carry multiple carriers. This provides our clients options. We can write business when it presents ourselves. I'm wondering how this looks as far as Medicare Advantage goes. How do you recommend a new agent to start? Should they start with one company? Should they start with multiple companies? And if so, all at once or scaled up? What's your suggestion?
I think that depends on how much knowledge one agent can soak up. Now, as time goes, you most definitely want to have every carrier that's in your area. So you always want to have the big nationals. You want to have the United Healthcare. You want to have the Humana, the Aetna, the Cigna. Those are your national carriers that you definitely want to have. So when a new agent starts, I would think about potentially doing at least those four. Okay, now, in every area, you're going to have some regional carriers. And then you may even have some that are just for their county. Okay, depending on how strong they are, you're going to want appointments with those carriers. But would I do them all at one time? No. It's too much knowledge. It's too much variation in the plans. The networks. If you can absorb all that data and have a plan, why not? Let's give them everything out there. But I tend to start my agents off with the national carriers, and then as they need the regional ones, then we'll provide the regional ones. But stick with the nationals. You can't go wrong with it. United has 70% market share, at least here in my area. That may be a little high, but they're the leaders in my area. So it just depends on when I say your area agents, I'm referring to your county. Okay, every county is different.
So let's think of the agent that's looking or thinking about doing Medicare Advantage, and he's considering focusing on Advantage, but maybe he's thinking about another product line. What would you tell, and especially since you've been in the business since 2011 or 2001, I should say, and you've sold Medicare Advantage for a long time, right? What would you describe as the long-term advantages of a focus on Medicare Advantage as your primary line of doing business?
Well, when you're doing cross-selling, I look at it, and I offer multiple lines in my agency. When I have one hook into a customer, one product, that customer tends to stay for a period of time. As I put 2 hooks into them, 3 hooks into them, they just stay with me longer. It's harder for them to leave because I've got more hooks on them. So I think for the agents that are just offering final expense, adding the Medicare Advantage is going to make them so much more valuable to that insured that they're not going to want to leave and go somewhere else. When that other agent comes knocking on that door, they're going to see the advantage. Excuse me, I lost my screen here. Okay, I'm back. They're going to see the. It's just going to be much harder. You're going to make the job much more harder for that other agent. That's what we're looking at. So cross-selling, I think, is huge. It's not only for the source of income, but the fact that you want to keep these customers on the books. That's how you build long-term renewals, is keeping them on the books.
So, a lot of agents are looking at this, like we've talked about it, from a final expense standpoint, and they're used to getting pretty high first-year commissions selling final expense, or maybe somebody who's looking at mortgage protection. Life insurance generally has a higher first-year basis. What about Medicare Advantage? Do you see the Medicare Advantage world as a first-year commission driven business, or more of a renewal driven benefit or renewal driven business model?
I love the commission structure with Medicare. Now, if you sell MedSups, well, again, we're focusing on Medicare Advantage. So the renewals, that's really why you're right. You're selling this product is your renewal stream. Okay. Now, if you end up writing somebody who is aging into Medicare, somebody 65, they just got their Medicare card, they have Part A and Part B, and you're selling them a plan, your initial commission is $497. Okay, give or take a few dollars depending on your area, but we'll go with, let's just do 500. Okay, that's your initial. Okay, now if they already have a plan and you're flipping them, you're making a change, or let's say they have a prescription drug plan and you're enrolling them in a Medicare Advantage plan, your commission is going to be half of the 497, so or half of 500. So we're going to say 250. Okay, now I've done the magic number. In other words, I've tried to calculate, how much are you getting? How many sales do you have to build a revenue stream that's going to come in month after month, not deviate very much? And here's the beauty: hardly any kind of service work. Okay, hardly any kind of service work. My magic number is 500. I look at that. I tell my agents, God, wait till you get to 500. At 500, at that point, you've built a pension. Is what we're looking at. That pension at 500 policies is about $10,000 a month, and literally a one-man show can handle a book of about 500 because the service work is minimal. And
how long do you think it would take to write 500 pieces of business? Like somebody who's serious about this business, they're full-time, they really give it an effort. Kind of paint the picture for somebody that likes this idea of making $10,000 literally passive for the most part. Is it years?
Yeah,
5 years, 10 years? What do you think?
For me to successfully hit that number, I'm saying 5 years. If you write 10 a month, that's a good number to shoot for. 10 a month, you'll have 120. You give some attrition in there. Some people dying off, leaving. So you're going to have about 500 in there, or 100 a year. I think in 5 years, you can build a solid book. 500 people sitting there that are consistently renewing. They're keeping their plans, and you're getting that renewal check. And I tell you what, I love my renewal check. It's steady. It doesn't change. You can actually, in your world, if you don't sell, you don't make any money. So you need that. You got to keep that hustle going. Well, in my world, in the Medicare world, once you're there, you just got to maintain it. So I think it's going to provide a very, very good balance for the final expense guys that make a ton of money up front, but their service commissions are low. Well, over here, you don't make a ton up front, but it's steady. And so it may give these guys a little bit of stability, a little more of a comfort level with knowing that they're going to get this paycheck day in, day out, regardless of whether they're selling or not.
I'll add in my perspective. I've been in the business since 2011, and most of my business has been focused on final expense. I've always been a hardcore workaholic, but, I was about 2 or 3 years into the business where I thought, I won't always work, or probably always won't want to work this hard, because I'll have a lot of kids running around. They'll have activities. I want to be in a position where I can enjoy that. My father worked 7 days a week, traveled constantly, built a respectable, very big business, retired at 50. He did very well. But all those years, he had no personal or social life. He couldn't afford to stay away from taking care of his clients and his customers. The reason I mention this is because I made a decision that I was either going to recruit, which is the path I went, or I was going to go into selling Medicare to have a passive renewal-driven income to my business, because I could see at one point where I wouldn't possibly want to work nearly as hard at night, stay away from my family. And what's great is that this opportunity is extended to everybody who wants to go into it. And I promise you guys, there's a lot of you guys out there that do very well with final expense. You're relatively new to the business. If you're several years into this, maybe even less than that, but you see a need to diversify, you see a need that maybe in a couple of years, you don't want to necessarily work nights all the time. You want to spend time more at home. This is a great opportunity, especially if the idea of getting into the recruiting or adult babysitting business doesn't appeal to you.
Right. Well, final expense with life insurance sales, again, we go back to the hustle. You got to consistently be closing business to make that check. With this, you want to take a month off. Nothing's going to happen. And I still haven't touched on the amount of service work that you got to do with this business. And I can touch on it now, or we can kind of wait, but the service work I love the service work because it's very, very little service work.
When do you actually have to, talk to a client? I mean, are they blowing your phone up when they get a bill back, or how, like, something happens? Like, what service work, if any, is there really that you have to deal with?
I would tell you the majority of the calls that I get from the seniors I've enrolled are, my buddy needs help. God, I love the calls because that's usually the call that I get. Hey, can you help so-and-so with this plan? Or they're having some issues. I'm on my way.
I love those service calls,
Yeah, they're great. Now, the actual service calls that I get, sometimes they'll have some issues with potentially seeing a doctor that's out of network. Well, we've got a little problem there. Or a medication that they're taking is not covered, or the co-pays change. My go-to line is, I would love to help you. And in fact, at the very beginning of my business, I try to help them. But every time I got on the phone and either we did three-way call with the customer service, or I had them in my office and we made the call, the representatives from the carriers would make me get off the phone. Or they'd say, hey, can you step out? We'll talk to your customer. I'm like, well, here I go. So at the very beginning of my business, I was trying to get involved in the claims. Well, now, even if I wanted to, I can't. I've got to get the HIPAA, the medical release information.
Wow.
Well, why would I want to put myself in that position? Number one, I got no authority on claims or adjusting the claim. So my go-to line is, hey, David, I would love to help you out with your problem that you've got. But here's the issue. If I call for you, they're going to make me hang up. So let me tell you, here's what you're going to do, David. Look at the number on the back of your card. You're going to call them up. They have a team that is dedicated to helping you with your problems. They're going to be able to see your claim. They're going to know what's going on. So call that number. If you got any problems, call me back. But they're the ones that are going to solve it for you. And literally most of in fact, I would say all the service work is handled by the customer service center. Every now and then I'll get a call. Hey, I want to go see a doctor. Can you help me find one? God, it's a piece of cake. I go to the provider search for a cardiologist, and I'll give them a list, or I'll check the doctor that they already have in mind. But the service work is super, super easy.
So we talked about, the Medicare Advantage opportunity. Great renewal income with a consistent effort over many years and writing lots of policies. And a really simple sale with a huge market. But let's talk about what I believe is one of the most important components to any insurance sales business, and that's marketing. We can have a great product or a great concept, but without having people to see, as you well know, you don't really have a business. So how can we market for Medicare Advantage? And expanding on that, what would you consider the best way to market for Medicare Advantage is?
Well, what I do and what my agents do is going to be probably a little bit different than what your final expense agents are going to do. And here's where the difference is. Your final expense guys are already buying leads that are putting them in front of a senior, probably a senior that already has Medicare. Okay, they're already spending the money. All they got to do is transition. So what else do they have to do? Well, they just got to throw out the, by the way, David, by the way, I now offer Medicare. Or, and I should have worn it, a little button that says, ask me about Medicare.
That's a pretty good idea. I like that.
Yeah, all they got to do is transition over. They don't have to do anything different, but throw out the, by the way, I do this. Okay. Now, for the agent that doesn't have leads, doesn't buy leads, that is starting in the business, well, there's a lot of ways to market Medicare. During AEP, one of where I write probably 60% of my business is I have a booth at a local grocery store. I started a little, and it wasn't the high-end store. It was the store that nobody wanted. It was out in the country. I took it. I really didn't want it, and it's turned out to be a gold mine. I literally sit there 2 days a week for about 5 hours, and I will have customers just come and talk to you. And you're going to think people don't buy Medicare at the grocery store. It's, I mean, I get most of my business there. And every now and then they'll tell me, hey, it's too loud. Can you come by my house? Great. I'll be there as soon as I get done. But working a grocery store is great. Where else can you market? Okay. Second place you can market is your book of business. So the final expense agents that have been in business for a while, make that call. David, how's your final expense policy? How's life treating you, David? Do that service call to your insured and then say, hey, by the way, I now offer Medicare. Is there anything I can help you with? So working your existing book of business. Also, depending on how you have your book of your business managed or your CRM, your management system, do a search for people that are 64 and find out which ones are turning 65 in the next 3 months. Work that book. Each carrier, once you get appointed with a carrier, they have a marketing department. I know United will give you a letter that you can send your book of business. It's already pre-filled. They'll have your name on it. They'll print it. And all you've got to do is put Dear David. And you can send those out to every carrier or every insured that you have in your book of business. So you got your book of business. You got your marketing events that you can have out there. You have there's, I think that I'm missing one. What's the other? Your book of business. Oh, the leads that you're already purchasing. So you're already doing that. You don't have to spend more money to be successful in this business. Just do what you're doing. Just offer another product. There's a compliant way to make that transition, but it's very, it's not something else it's not a huge investment for them to be successful in this.
So let's focus on the agent that's interested in selling Medicare Advantage. They like everything they've heard about the opportunity, but they just don't have money, and maybe they don't have experience either as far as a book of business, but they definitely don't have the money to market for Medicare Advantage. Can you detail any kind of free lead opportunities to market for Medicare Advantage, like referral relationships or maybe incentives from the companies? What are options available for agents who are in this situation?
The two just came into my mind that I forgot to mention earlier. Okay, one of them is in your circle of influence, your group of people that you run with. If you have a doctor that you know, doctors have patients that are turning 65. A problem with that a lot of these doctors have is a patient may enroll in a plan, and if that agent didn't do a good job and double check the doctor list, that doctor could lose that patient. They're going to go somewhere else. Doctor just lost some money there, okay, on a patient. Well, getting with a doctor, knowing what plans a doctor takes, and creating a relationship with a doctor's office, letting them know, hey, I'll take care of your people that are turning 65. I'm going to make sure that they enroll in one of the plans that you've got, or do my best job to put them in one of these plans. That way that the doctor can retain the patient. So I think working with doctors' offices is a good way to bring in business. Each carrier has relationships that they've created with either senior centers in the community. Here in my area, a grocery chain, which is HEB, huge grocery chain. Well, there are HEBs that we don't have enough agents to stick in there. So a carrier, you tell them, hey, I want to get into a grocery store. They'll find one for you. So I think working the marketing events that these carriers have is going to be a great way to bring in business. I mean, and what's your outlay of cash? What do you got to spend to get one of these? Nothing. Literally, the carrier provides everything. They give you a table, chairs, booth. They'll give you the tablecloth, the banners. There's so much marketing dollars that these carriers have that they'll provide these agents with. The other is the senior events. Okay, you can do these all year long. You can do educational events all year long. They'll even pay for the advertisements in the paper. They'll pay for mailers to go out. If you want to have a marketing event at a restaurant, talk about the product. And depending on your relationship with the carrier rep, they may even go with you and help you teach a class in Medicare. And you get a little sign-in sheet, pass out your cards, and never know what can come out of that. So there's a lot of opportunity for the new agent that does not have a book of business that they can tap into. It's just a matter of getting a little bit creative, having that will, that having the drive to meet with these carrier reps and say, okay, Mr. United Healthcare representative that works with the agents, help me out. This is what I want to do. I want to grow this. Where should I go? And they know their market. What works here may not work in your area, but the reps in that area know what will work, and they'll help you.
Great. So question for you, one of the things I see a lot of concerns with, if I may say from a sales perspective, the biggest objection of doing Medicare Advantage is the worry about compliance as it relates to, talking to the prospect and selling the prospect and all of the activity involved. Can you expand on what the compliance issues are that some agents are concerned about, and really what realistic perspective, especially from somebody with approximately 900 Medicare Advantage cases written, what does the agent really have to worry about when it comes to compliance issues?
The biggest issue is making a compliant presentation. Agents sometimes want to speed through the process, get in and get out. And you're going to miss some things if you get in and get out. So the two biggest complaints that happen to agents is, number one, is they don't cover everything that should be covered. Okay, so there is a process. You've got to follow the process. Sometimes it takes about an hour. Depends on how involved the prospect is, how many questions they're asking. But on the average, I take about an hour. Okay, now, once you do a compliant presentation, there's really nothing that can go wrong. Okay, now, but there is one thing that can go wrong. Okay, and this is not checking two things. And this is where agents get in trouble. They don't check the doctors, and they don't check the medications. As long as you do that, you make that part of your presentation, then if there is a customer complaint that goes up, we as your upline have the ability to fight for you if you've done the compliant presentation. If you checked your doctors for them, you checked the doctors, you checked the meds, you did all your homework, you've got nothing to worry about. Okay, it's when you don't do that you've got something to worry about. So it's scary. I've had a complaint or two come my way, and usually when it comes my way, it's because they're being coached by the other agent to say this or say that. But when the complaint comes our way, then it's just a matter of responding to it in a timely manner. And they'll ask for a few things. There's a scope of appointment that needs to be signed. You provide that, you've pretty much won the battle. Okay. And then where we're going to just knock it out of the ballpark is give me the notes that you took during that meeting. Well, the only thing that I need to put in my little notepad is the doctors and the medications. And I make very detailed notes. In fact, I have a little sheet that I've created. All the doctors are listed in there, and I have a little check mark box that says in network or out of network. I make sure that I check every doctor. I make sure that I check every medication, and I find out what tier they're in, and I'll write that down. It's an easy process. It's not very hard, but I make sure that I never have it. And then I have a little miscellaneous notes. Well, in that miscellaneous notes section, I'll put in there, sister was in the room. I'll jot down notes. I'll put as little detailed information, just so that I make sure that I have everything covered. I want to make sure that I give my upline the ability to fight for me when the complaint happens. But I've been doing business since 2001. If you do it right, you're not going to have issues. You're not going to have, and if you do, they're just going to get squashed because you have the right documents. You have the scope. You did a compliant presentation, and you did the search to your ability. My latest one that I had that came across my desk was a complaint because the doctor wasn't in network. So I go to my list, I go to my sheet, and I'm like, look, I covered them all in here. Well, it turned out that she forgot to tell me about that, doc. How am I supposed to know? There's just no way for me to know. Had I known, I would have addressed it. But I sent in my documentation and the complaint went away. Never shows up anywhere. So a lot of it is just documentation. Cross your T's, dot your I's in the Medicare field, because life insurance is very, very important. It pays out when they die. But with Medicare, it's something that it's their health. It's you really want to make sure that you've done the job correctly. And the job is not very hard. Like I said, biggest things is signatures and check the doctor's and meds. And that's it.
So when we look at new Medicare Advantage clients that we write, so just to preface this, Luis, we're talking about perhaps people we found or wrote at, maybe one of these referral partners, that kind of thing. These aren't our book of business. What's the compliance or the standard in cross-selling business to them? And the reason I ask is some people might be thinking, oh, I could build a book of Medicare Advantage agents from scratch, or Medicare Advantage clients from scratch, and then I could cross-sell other things like life products, annuities, and that kind of thing. Can you speak on to that as far as the compliance issue and if that's something that's acceptable?
If a referral is given to you, wait for them to contact you. So whoever referred you to them, at the doctor's offices, I go there every single month and I leave a stack of cards. Tell them to contact me. I don't want the doctor to give me the name because I don't have permission to contact. Okay. I tell the doctor, you give them my card, have them call me, have them email me. Okay. So have them contact me. That's the best way to get a referral to you. Okay. Then as far as working your book of business, I love working my book of business. Okay. Regardless of what my book of business is, I try to retain it. That's how I'm going to make my living. That's how I'm going to be able to maintain my service commissions. So I call, hey, David, how you doing? How's life? How are the kids? How's your whatever? Any problems with the life product that I sold you? And start the call with that. And then throw out the by the way. By the way, how's your Medicare supplement? Start the conversation that way. A lot of seniors think that their Advantage plans are supplements. So go with how's your supplement? Well, my supplement, it's okay. Well, what's tell me what you like about it. But mainly what I want to know, tell me what you don't like about it. Let me see if I can solve your problem. And set that appointment up. Now, you used to have to set this up 48 hours in advance. Boy, they took that away. Now you can do same day. David, you know what? My schedule is free in a couple of hours. Can I stop by your place, or do you want to come by my office? And let's see if we can address this problem. So working your book is huge. They're your customers. Now, in the Medicare Advantage world, if you don't have permission to contact, you're not supposed to contact. You can't door knock for Medicare Advantage. Okay, so you've got to wait for it to come to you. But you can do all kinds of things you can put a lot of honey out there to attract the bees. So you do as much as you can out there. Wear a button, hand out your cards. The grocery store is great. Sometimes I've gone in there with a new agent. They're like, why are you talking to, you're selling Medicare. Why are you talking to somebody you clearly is not of Medicare age? Well, they got a mom and dad. Hey, tell your mom and dad, hey, they need help with their Medicare. Tell them to call me. So there's a lot of things that a lot of ways to put honey out there to attract the bees. So you want to do it compliantly. That's the key. Do it compliantly. And if a rule gets broken, is it the end of the world? Are you going to lose your license? No. You're going to get a warning. Usually what happens is, hey, don't do it anymore, David. Okay, at that point, you don't want to continue. You don't want to push because they could come back and you don't want to wake up that bear and then they come back and then you got to deal with the consequences. So yes, do everything the right way. Make sure that the biggest thing is a door knocking for Medicare Advantage. That's a big no-no. But putting out honey is great.
So walk us through briefly what an agent can expect actually inside of a Medicare Advantage sales presentation. Take us from the moment you meet them at the door to what you do in the actual presentation itself, then wrapping it up, writing the application, then to leaving. What can an agent expect doing a sales presentation selling Medicare Advantage?
Okay. So that sales process for me usually lasts about an hour. I start off with, usually they have no idea what Medicare covers. They don't know that there's a deductible, that it only covers 80%, and that there's no prescription drug coverage with their Medicare. They've got no idea. And so I usually do my presentation with that. Let's talk about Medicare. I don't even mention plans. I have nothing on my desk. I just literally take out a sheet of paper. I've got their Medicare card, and I explain what they currently have. Then they see, oh shoot, I got a problem. I got no drug coverage. So I'm trying to figure out, okay, or trying to enlighten them, hey, you've got to do something. You got to go with either option 1 or option 2, because you really have a problem if you run with just Medicare. So once I've showed them what they've got, then literally I tell them, and my presentation does not change. David, you have a choice. You can go with option 1, option 2. It's like choosing a car or a truck. Which is better? Well, it depends. You got no idea if a car or a truck is better. It all depends on that one person. So you explain option 1, which is maybe a Medicare supplement with a prescription drug plan. Give them the pros and cons there. Then you do the Medicare Advantage, and you give them the pros and cons. And then literally at that point, I don't say a word. I let them tell me, I want to go this way or that way. Okay, once they decide which way they go, then at that point, I break out my little sheet where I'm like, okay, we're going to go with the Advantage plan. We got to check the network. Now, not all Advantage plans are HMOs. Some of them are PPOs, but it's still a network-based product. So I still got to do my homework. So if we're going to go the Medicare supplement route, then I don't have to check networks. Makes it a little bit easier. But I still have to check medications on both options. I got to make sure if I'm going to recommend just a prescription drug plan that I check it, make sure that they're covered. So the process, Medicare 101 with them. Once they tell me which way they want to go, which 9 out of 10 times we're going to go the Medicare Advantage route. Okay. Then I do my homework. I get my doctor list, my prescription list. Once I've used that list and done my analysis to determine which product, I pull out the product, put it in front of them, and I tell them, hey, this is the one I think we're going to have to go with. And here's why. Your doctors are covered here. Now, I do run every now into a scenario where they'll have 7 docs, and I've got 5 out of the 7. And I'll tell them, okay, well, with this plan, I got 5 out of the 7. With this one, I got 4 out of the 7. You know, sometimes I don't hit a home run. So I present the best option. I make sure that they're aware that these 2 docs aren't covered. And once they've given me the okay, well, I'll deal with that situation. I'll open up the booklet. And at that point, what I will do is present, or I'll review the summary of benefits. I'll go over each section. And literally, I'm reading off the book. And I don't deviate from the book. They may throw some off question. I'm like, if it's not in the book, I'm not going to give an answer because I don't want to be put in a spot. But I go off the book, and my usual go-to question or go-to answer is if it's not in the book, if Medicare covers it, your plan will cover it. So the question is not will the plan cover it, it's whether Medicare will cover it. So that usually answers questions that are not in the book. So we do the presentation, we go over the summary of benefits. After the summary of benefits, we'll get into the additional benefits that they're going to get with an Advantage plan, which seniors love. Sometimes they'll get dental, vision, hearing, an over-the-counter benefit, transportation, and a lot of them are loving the gym membership. So depending on your product or the area that you're in, you'll have some benefits that you can review. That's usually the plus. At that point, I pretty much have won them over, and then we do an application. So sometimes I'll do paper apps. Sometimes I'll do an electronic app. I'm loving the electronic apps anymore. Very, very easy to do, and the chance of making a mistake are slim. But that's the process. Now, we will be posting soon, and we'll do this regularly. I've recorded, which I call a virtual ride-along. You will see me and some of my agents, my experienced agents, my rookies that are just starting off. I'm going to record them so that you can see how they're selling and their presentations, and then you can just formulate what you want to do.
Wonderful. So another question for you. Again, a lot of the times agents look at the Medicare Advantage business and think, oh, I can only sell these products when the person turns 65. And then if not, only during what's called annual enrollment period, which is basically the end of the year between October and December. Correct. Is that really the case, or are there opportunities where you can sell a Medicare Advantage plan at any time of the year, even if they're not turning 65 or aging into Medicare?
I want agents to believe that. Okay, I want every agent out there to think that they can only sell during that time period. Leave the rest for me. Okay, during that time, outside of the annual enrollment, there are 3 ways that you can sell Medicare Advantage, or 3 scenarios. Okay, scenario number 1, we already know, turning 65. Okay, God, you can find people turning 65. That's going to be your go-to. So that's number 1, turning 65. Number 2 is people that have a chronic condition. Okay, the biggest one in my area is diabetes. If they're diabetics, whether they're on insulin or the pill, they're taking metformin, they are considered chronics, and I can enroll them in the plan year round. The third one is going to be what I call the duals, or Medi-Medis. These are people that have Medicare and Medicaid. You can enroll these guys all year long. Now, they have put a cap on how many times they can switch. They've limited it to 3 times, or 1 time every 3 months. Okay. Then the fourth one, I knew I was missing one. The fourth one is people that have low income subsidy. This is known as the extra help with prescription drugs. Okay. These are people that make a little too much money for Medicaid, so they don't qualify there, but they're getting some help with their prescription drug plan. Okay. The only way to know that is to call the carrier, give them some sensitive data, their name, their date of birth, their Medicare information. They'll do a lookup and tell you. Or you can go to Medicare.gov, plug in that same data, and you can find out what kind of help they're getting. But if they are LIS, which stands for the low income subsidy, eligible, or they've gotten that, you can enroll them year round. So I said 3, but there's 4. Turning 65, the chronics, the Medi-Medis, and the ones that have LIS. And you can enroll those all year long. So it's a year-round business. It is a year-round business. And in my opinion, I think for final expense guys that are out there selling, probably the majority of your customers are going to be in one of those 3 categories. They're going to be Medi-Medis. If they're low income, they're going to have LIS, or they're going to have a health condition. Now, diabetes is one of them. There's another set of conditions, which are cardiovascular disorders. I hardly ever run into those. I might just go straight for diabetics. So it's year round.
Tell us how you would teach a person new to the business how Medicare Advantage works, not just from an educational side, but also from a sales side. What's it like working with you, and what can an agent would expect?
The biggest thing is you've got to do all your work to become knowledgeable. There's no way to teach the foundations. Okay, you got to do your AHIP. You've got to do your carrier certifications. Now, where we come in, you know, what do we do as your Medicare guy? Well, we're there to help you out with specific questions, scenario type questions. You know, you shouldn't be asking Medicare 101 questions up to your upline. You know, those you should know. But there are certain scenarios that are tough that you run into that you need help with. Well, you got access to me. I've got a business partner that I work with. He's my go-to guy when I run into a scenario that I can't figure out. You have the carrier reps that can help you out. So you have us as your backbone, as your support line. I got to make a phone call. I got to find out how do I handle this scenario. So I'm available by text. That's usually the best way to get a hold of me. The only time I'm not going to answer is when I'm with a customer. Other than that, I'm usually going to pick up the phone or I'm going to reply to her text. And I'm like you, I'm a workaholic. I work all the time. I'm at home and I'm working. I'm pitching softball and I got my phone with me. I'm out there. I know, you guys are meeting with customers throughout the day and in the evening, so you need help. So help via text messaging, email. We're going to create a chat room via GroupMe where you can get in and ask questions. We're also going to have, I'm working on creating a YouTube channel where I'm going to put scenarios out. So you may call me and tell me, hey, I've got a customer that's in this scenario, whatever the scenario is. I'm going to try to have a channel where you can go straight on there and just search for this scenario and get the answer. So I'm going to try to teach you how to fish as opposed to just giving you fish, because at some point there's only so many fish I can give you. And so I'm going to teach you where to go find the answers. So, that's my job. I don't benefit one bit if these agents don't sell. So I want to help you sell. Medicare is not a hard product to sell. Again, they got to have it. That's the beauty. Life insurance is in my opinion, a much harder sell. Okay, you're selling something that you're selling a piece of paper with a guarantee. If something happens, their family is going to get this. In the Medicare field, in the health industry, you're selling a product that they're using that's going to maintain their health. So it's so much easier. Plus, again, remember, you're not asking for money. God, I love that. I have a product that I sell that is a PPO. My premium for the PPO product is $15. And guess what? It's not coming out of their account. It's coming out of their Social Security. I'm getting it before they spend their check. So
no more missed drafts anymore, guys. That's nice.
That's it. Exactly. I'm getting that money first. So, and that's if I sell PPO. I don't sell very many PPOs. PPOs are not rich in benefits. Copays are usually higher than the HMOs. So HMOs are normally what gets sold. And so again, I hope I answered that question. I'm me and my partner, we're going to try to put resources out there where agents can go, and we'll share those resources with you so you can provide them to your agents. So in case that they need an answer right there and they can't get a hold of me because I'm in the middle of a meeting, then they should at least know, okay, I'm going to go here and type in, whatever the scenario is, and try to find a little 1 to 5 minute video on how to solve that problem.
So as far as the requirements to sell Medicare Advantage from a technology standpoint, what does an agent need to have equipped with them? Do they need laptops, iPads? What's kind of the tech behind getting out there and selling this stuff to Medicare Advantage prospects?
Okay, so let's go old school. I was old school for about 2 years, or until about 2 years ago. I carried a little computer bag, and guess what? There's no computer in there. Okay, I carried an application or two for every carrier that I offered. I had the big formulary book that I checked the medications on. And so that's where I walked in. I was very old school. Well, now I use an iPad. I don't leave home without this anymore. Now I still carry, because there are some places where I don't have service, but I still carry, in my vehicle, I've got my computer bag, but this is all that I need. So in here, I have all of my drug list in the form of PDFs. If you have a laptop, you can just make a folder and stuff everything in there. If your laptop has the ability to write on it, if you've got a tablet or like this iPad where you can use your signature, you don't need anything. You can get everything done on that piece of whatever hardware you're going to use.
And to interrupt, I mean, you use an iPad, but I mean, an agent can use any kind of, a tablet or even cheap laptop to access all the same information, right?
Most of my guys don't carry a laptop. They're all PCs. So they'll carry a little laptop with them or a Surface Pro, and they'll have their data in there. So it is, you can be old school and go with paper apps, or you can go the technology route, which they're pushing heavily. They want you to do electronic applications. So United, you'll go log into their site or whichever carrier you're going to use, and you can do your applications on there. So it's just whatever the agent prefers. They can go old school with paper, or they can go with the digital side of it. And any better, any worse, it's just a preference. My drug list, first of all, there are no more lists that these carriers print out anymore. So if you want to walk around with a book that covers all the meds, or a doctor provider book, those things are gone. So you have to do a search online. Okay. When I set up an appointment and I'm going out somewhere to a community that I know service may be sketchy, I ask them up front, I need a list of your docs. I gotta pre-sell this. I want to know if I have internet over there, great, I can find out when I'm there. But I want to do a little bit of a homework. So I ask them, hey, give me a list of your docs. Let me just double check. I'm going to do my homework. That way when I get there, I'm not there for 5 hours. You may have to make me dinner. And so like, oh, great, here's the list, take it. And so they'll give me the list of docs. I'll get their meds, and I'll do my little 10-minute homework and figure out which plan I'm going to walk in with. So old school, then go digital, the tech side, and walk in with an iPad or a laptop. And but again, remember, you're meeting with seniors. Okay, these guys are still old school. So sometimes walking in with a product book is still a good way to go.
Great. So let's imagine for a moment we have an agent who is going to do Medicare Advantage. They've done all the AHIP and certification for the carriers you're going to sell, and they've got a lead program set up. They're running their very first presentation. What's the experience like the first time they're in the field? What can you tell an agent who's going to get started in this business eventually what they can expect on their first presentation?
I will tell you, trying to think back on how my first one went, but seniors are very nice people to deal with. I mean, they are, on the average, even if you just tell them, David, this is my first appointment. I mean, geez, their expectations. They're going to help you. So see, it's just an easier segment of the population to deal with. They're not in a hurry. You're probably in their home. Sometimes I have 10 cups of coffee because I'm going to, their hospitality is, you go to somebody younger, it's like, hey, get in and get out. It's business. Let's take care of business. I got to go. With seniors, they've got time on their hands. So it's usually nice to slow down. There's not a lot of pressure. I think from an agent's point of view is they need to have their presentation ready. You can't go into this game and not have some place. You got to have your system on how you're going to present. So I would practice first doing the Medicare 101 presentation. Okay, very simple. Have that down. And that's going to be your step one. You're not going to do anything. Not talk product. You're not going to talk carriers. You're not going to do anything until you do that Medicare 101 presentation with them. Okay. Again, that's going to make you compliant. So you're going to do the Medicare 1 presentation. Then you're going to tell them, hey, option 1, option 2. Practice that. You're going to want to know what the pros and cons for 1 is and what the pros and cons are for 2. And then at that point, let them tell you what they want. Once they've done that, I think we're going to go into step 3. Step 3 is narrowing down the plans that belong to that one option that they choose. Okay, you got to learn how to do that. Okay, you got to have, if you're going to do the tech side of things, you got to have all the provider links on your computer ready to go. Okay, you don't want to be searching for the United Healthcare website and trying to figure out, okay, where do I go do the search? No, you got to have your homework done. You've got to know where to go find it. So I've got little folders where I know every I just click, it takes me there. Login information is there. I click. I mean, it's seamless. You got to have a folder on your computer where all the drug formularies are. So that way, you know, if you're going to go with carrier ABC, you go to their list and you just do a Control F and do a search for the drugs. So having some preparation in your presentations up front is key. You've got to have your plan down. So I think Medicare 101, help them decide if they're going to go option 1 or option 2. Number 3 is the narrowing down of the plans in that option. And then number 4, you got to know how to fill out an app. Okay, whether you're going to do it electronically or you're going to do it on paper, you've got to do some run, the practice trials. Know how to fill out an app. And I think most of the carriers have a sandbox or a playground where you can go in there and fill out a sample app, so you kind of get a feel for it. And that's really it. I think being prepared, going in there with a game plan and knowing, that there's only 2 ways they're going to go. They're going to go left or right, car or truck. That's it. And know if they go that route, what you're going to do.
So in the final expense business, and really in a lot of really all the insurance business, it's really important that an agent take the time and find an agency that best matches their goals, whatever it is that they want to accomplish. So if we magnify this specifically to the Medicare Advantage business, what should aspiring Medicare Advantage agents look for in an agency to partner with?
So I think the biggest thing is support. You can find all the carriers with any upline. They're all going to have them. I mean, that's just the way the business is. The key is going to be working with somebody that you trust, and somebody that is going to help you. That is the key. And that's where my job comes in, is I don't make a dime until these guys sell. So I want to help them. It's self-serving. So I want to help out as much as I can. And then once I've showed them how to fish, then they're catching fish all day long. I mean, it's just the beauty of the business. So I think the biggest thing is support, is knowing that you have a lifeline out there that you can reach out to when you're stuck. I think also having a database or a place where you can go, a place that you can go to find answers to the questions that they've got. So we're creating that. We're trying to make it easy. So we'll have a Dropbox out there for them that they can go and access and pull documents from. We'll have a YouTube channel where they can go and get stuff from. I think you'll have a website that your agents can go to and get data from or knowledge from. And so again, the biggest thing is support. Is here's my scenario. Help me write this policy. Again, I don't want to teach. It's your job as an agent to run the product. I don't want to teach product, but I want to teach you, if you're in this scenario, how do we help overcome that scenario so that you can make that sell?
And I'll add, just to throw in, I think it's important to clarify, the product knowledge is something that you will absolutely get in the process of doing all of the required testing and certification. So that's something that is a given, which is unusual in the insurance business, because it's not like for final expense. You may or may not get product training. You may be thrown to the wolves. So it's important you work with an agency that does that. But the unique thing about Medicare Advantage is that you don't get to sell a product unless you've really done a good job passing the requirements and meeting the standards of the carriers.
Correct. And then also the carriers themselves. You may have to go to a face-to-face training before they even allow you to sell. So some carriers, if you're a new agent, they're going to want to see you. You'll be in a room of other new agents out there, and they'll have a training on their products, which I love going to, because these products do change every year. Even though I'm not required, I go. You'll have kickoff meetings where a carrier will say, hey, we're kicking off our products for the following year. Hey, come in, they'll have happy hour and they'll talk about their product. I go to these to get the product knowledge because I hate reading. I don't want to sit in my house and read a book. No, but I'll go to a happy hour and learn about it. And so taking that initiative to go to these face-to-face meetings, going to the carrier kickoff meetings when new products are coming out for the following year is going to be extremely important for the agents. They've got to have their, they've got to want to do this. Okay. So they'll get the knowledge out there. My job is to help them take that knowledge and turn it into a sale when they're visiting with a prospect.
So on the inverse of that question about what to look for in a good Medicare Advantage agency, what are some warning signs that the Medicare Advantage agency you're thinking about joining is not necessarily going to provide the best outcome for you as an agent? Kind of expand on that.
There's only one thing that comes into mind is depending on who you're going to partner up with, you can get assignment of commissions. Okay, that is something that I would definitely warn you against. If you're an employee and you're getting a salary and you're selling Medicare Advantage, okay, well, that's because you're getting a salary. But for us agents out there that work on a commission, you want to own your book of business. There are years. If you change uplines, well, that's fine. Change uplines. You're still going to continue getting your renewals. So the assignment of commissions, I would be extremely careful with that. There are some entities out there that do an assignment of commissions. And that's because the new agents don't know any better. So on an assignment of commissions, what happens is the carrier pays the upline. Then the upline is now in the business of payroll and they're paying the agents. Well, not us. We don't do that. We're going to set you up directly with the carrier. You're going to receive your commissions directly from the carrier. So that is, for me, huge. I don't want to be tied. I want to make sure I get my money. I work hard and I want to get it. So,
and to clarify, Luis, are you saying that not only is the agent getting paid direct from the carrier? Absolutely agree, 100% must do, in Medicare Advantage for sure. What about vesting? Are agents 100% vested in this organization as well?
Oh, yeah. Those renewals are yours. Now, where I have seen agents lose what they've written, there's only one way to do that. Well, I take that back. There's two. One, you lose your license. Okay, well, can't control that. You lose your license, you're not going to get paid commissions. But I have seen this, is they think because they're not selling anymore that they do not have to get certified for the following year. Okay, I've seen that, and it's not good because you lose your book. You're starting from scratch if you decide to get back into it. So every year you've got to do your AHIP and your carrier certifications. So it's a must. Without that, if as long as you do that, you're 100% vested. That book of business that you work hard for to grow is yours. You're going to lose them one of two ways. They either die off and the plan terminates, or another agent came in and sold a different plan. They flipped them to their book of business. Other than that, they're yours.
So yeah, key thing, guys out there thinking about doing this is make sure you're 100% vested and make sure that you're paid direct from the carrier. Again, this is solid advice, and you're in business for yourself. Make sure that you own that book of business, because if things don't turn out the way you think and you want to change agency relationships, you're at their mercy. And that's not why we get in this business. We do it because we want to have the benefits of a passive income, ultimately after putting hard work up front for it.
That's when you can go live in Florida and go fishing every day.
That's right.
That's my goal.
So next question for you. Let's talk about commissions. Commission's a little different than, say, the life insurance business. Can you expand upon what the commission structure is like and how, if at all, an agent can increase his commission level?
Oh, geez. Okay. All right. So commissions. Commissions are very easy. Okay. You're either going to get the full commission when you enroll somebody that is getting into Medicare, or you're going to get half. That's it. There's no other option. So when you do an initial enrollment, you're going to get approximately, in my area, it's $497, but we'll just do the math and we're just going to round up to 500. An initial enrollment is $500. So if I enroll somebody April the 1st, I'm going to get my $500. I'm not going to get a penny until May of 2020. Okay, in 2020, I'll start getting my renewal commissions. Okay, so, and I'll get half of the 497. You know, half of the 500, I'll get 250. So I will be getting that forever.
Is that, Luis, real quick, for the sake of the agents watching, on that renewal commission, this assumes a client you wrote the last year and it was a first time to Medicare Advantage, you got the full 500.
Correct.
The renewal commission that's paid out May 1st, is that paid the whole 250 or is it as earned at that point?
Good question. It's as earned. You're going to get 1/12 of that 250. So you'll get that every single month, which is, for some agents, are like, oh, well, that's not too good. But when you build a book of business, that's that steady income coming every single month. You can budget your life based on, you know what's going to come in every single month. Give or take a little bit, but it's not the huge commissions that you're getting.
Yeah, no, huge advance commission fluctuations that are so prevalent. You know, if you have a bad run of final expense business and 5 pieces of business charge back, and now you got to eat through that. You don't get that with Medicare Advantage because you're paid as earned. That's
earned. After the first year, you're getting paid as earned. Or potentially if you do a flip. Okay, so let's just do a calendar year, January to December, and you flip a piece of business over. They were in a plan, but what you offered was a little bit better. Okay, and you do it in June. Okay, depending on the carrier, you may get the commissions from July to the end of the year, all up front. Or you could start getting the 7th, 12th of that commission, and then the 8th, 12th in August, and so forth. But either way, when it's all said and done, at the end of the year, you're going to get your full commissions. Okay, so I love as earned business. I mean, it allows me to live. So the upfront is great. I look at it as bonus money, but the as earned is just steady. Doesn't change very much.
So basically, for like the final expense agent that may do a cross-sell approach, like we've talked earlier, what you're saying is if let's say they flip someone in June, right? So they say the first starts in July 1st. So let's say it's 6 months. They're going to get paid a prorated commission for the remainder of the year. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's better. It's a better way of saying
okay.
That is correct. So they're not going to get the full 250 because they're only under their book of business for half the year. Now, January or the following year comes around, then the 250 is going to be given to them throughout the year, but it's going to be in 1/12 increments.
Right. So it's just like you enroll somebody in this particular example in like a special election period. It's just you get paid as earned monthly from there on out. It's kind of way to look at it. So okay,
correct.
Cool.
Consider the advance when you're enrolling somebody new into Medicare because you're getting the full 500 upfront.
So what happens in annual enrollment period? And let's say a lot of your business, if not all, you're switching over from one plan to another for your clients. When would you get paid on annual enrollment business? And is that as earned or is that going to be in advance? And when does that actually pay out?
So it's all going to be as earned. So let's just say they have ABC company and you're an AEP, which is the end of the year, and you enroll them with a new carrier effective January 1. Okay. Well, your statement in February will have the January commissions. Now, you're not going to get the full amount. You're going to get the prorated, the as earned amount, and you'll get that for the remainder of the year. So you're looking at about a 1-month turnaround is what it is. So now if you enroll somebody at the beginning of AEP, which is October the 15th, with a 1/1 effective date, well, you're still not going to get the commission check till February. Okay, because it's still a January 1 effective date.
And in that case, is there an advance payout on February the 1st, or is it at that point as earned commissions from there on out?
It depends on the carrier, but it's usually as earned. I tell people as earned. It is, sometimes it depends. They may not have any plans and they're going to be new to Medicare. Well, then even though it's annual enrollment, then at that point you'll get the full commission, the advanced commission.
Right.
But I just tell people, plan on it being as earned.
Right. Okay.
And remember, you file expense, guys. You got your business that you're still doing. So you've got your upfront commissions. You've got your big commissions coming up front. This is what's helping build that pension or salary that's going to come.
Sure.
For the rest of your life. It makes life a little bit easier.
Yeah. So walk me through the process from start to finish for someone who wants to sell Medicare Advantage. Again, imagine someone's watching this video. They're enticed by the Medicare Advantage opportunity. What steps do they need to take? And approximately how long is it going to take them to where they're from starting off to actually sitting down with their first prospect selling them?
Okay, so I think step one. So I am a fire expense agent. I don't know anything. I don't have any Medicare contracts. I've done nothing with Medicare, but I am sold. I want to offer this. I want that income potential. Well, step number one is they need to get with you, David. They need to tell you, David, you know what? I'm ready to rock and roll. What do I got to do? Okay. So step one is going to be to get contracting done for them. So what I would do is I would start with one carrier, one national carrier. And then from there we can build. But we'll start with one. We'll get you contracted with that carrier. Then once you're contracted with that carrier, we're going to show you how to navigate the carrier website and get to the certifications where it's going to lead you off into AHIP. Now, the only financial investment you've got to make is an AHIP. It's a whopping $125. That's what you're going to invest in to start this business. Okay. So you pay your $125 and you enroll in AHIP and you take that test. Once you've taken that test, which is the Medicare 101 test, then the results will get transmitted electronically to the carrier. They're going to take a day or two for them to see that you've passed your AHIP. And at that point, they're going to allow you to take the product training. Okay, once you get that product training done, another couple of days, and you're going to be given the green light to sell. At that point, they'll send you a marketing kit, or you'll talk to marketing and say, hey, I need a kit. Well, they'll ask you, what counties are you in? And they'll help you, and they'll send you a kit of applications, booklets that you got to have to enroll people. So time, probably the biggest time, or the biggest thing that's going to eat a lot of their time is passing AHIP. You're not going to knock it out in a day or two. You'll probably do a module per day. And so there's 5 modules. So I would say a week on AHIP. And then at the most another day or two with the carrier training. I mean, I knock them out in half hour. I mean, I'm just, I've been doing it so long, I know. But for a new agent, you want to make sure you know the product. So give it another couple of days for carrier training and you're set. And then once that is set, we'll move on to another national carrier. Okay, transmit the results to them, take their product training. Okay, of course, you've already done your AHIP, so we don't have to do it again for a new carrier. But it's just a matter of transmitting the results. That's done behind the scenes when you log into the carrier site. And you do the product training. So it's going to be dependent on them doing the product training. So I would say at the most, or at the least a couple of days, it could take somebody a long time. If they don't do their product training, they're not going to move forward. So I say at the very least, let's just, for that highly motivated agent that's going to jump at this thing and dedicate a lot of time just to get certified, I would say 2 weeks. We can get them going with one carrier, and then we can add carriers as we go.
So you're thinking conservatively 2 to 4 weeks from the point of taking AHIP, taking certifications, each carrier, to being appointed, and then going to, say, cross-selling a book of business is kind of
correct. Yes.
Realistic.
Yeah, about a month. Yes, that sounds very realistic.
Okay. So, again, a lot of I've dealt with a lot of agents over the years, and there's this perception that the best time to get credentialed to sell Medicare Advantage is really close to annual enrollment period, which is approximately the October, November time period. Now, again, because there's this thought that this is the only time to sell Medicare Advantage. So my question to you is, if somebody's watching this and it's, April or May, when's the best time to actually get credentialed and start selling Advantage? Is it all the way until September, or is it sooner than that?
Well, I would say do it now. If you want to get into this business and you want to start offering Medicare Advantage to your customers, you need to do it now. Okay. So without doing it now, you're not going to be able to offer this. You're not going to be able to offer this product to your customers or to your prospects. So there's just, you can't have one without the other. So it's a must. Okay. Now, if you decide, well, I'm going to continue doing business as is, and then I'm going to try to get in during the annual enrollment, not a problem. You can do that. So you can't sell anything until then. And then once we get into the annual enrollment, there's a big gear up from every company out there. So most of the carrier reps are already in annual enrollment mode. It's not the proper time to be asking them for help or for marketing ideas or, hey, can you get me into this venue to help sell? No. These guys are thinking annual enrollment. They're thinking kickoff meetings. Their minds are focused on that. So in my opinion, and if I would just tell people, do it now. Why wait? I mean, you're already spending money for leads. You're already visiting with seniors. Why would you want to wait? So get it done now. Start selling for 2019. You're still going to have to get certified in August and September for the 2020 selling season. So you're going to have to do it then anyway. But you've got, we're April, so we got 8 more months of selling for 2019. To me, if you want to get into the business, why would I give up 8 months of selling?
Great point too, because the thing I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Luis, most of these agents watching this are probably final expense agents due to the audience that I have on my channel. And every single day, it's very likely they're running into a prospect, maybe not multiple ones, but at least one that's probably eligible for a special election period. They're one of these chronic plans you talked about, or D-SNP. They're set up to where they may qualify to flip their plan now as opposed to waiting. And the whole concept of this strategy is a year-long one. It's not an 8-week period at the end of the year. It is, let's help people now and improve their Medicare Advantage coverage. And so why, like you said, why would you wait to, an arbitrary time to do this? You got people right now who need you. And the great thing is, again, correct if I'm wrong, if you can't help them now, if they don't qualify to flip, then you can go see them, right? You can go see them at annual enrollment period and then help them.
Pipelining or X-dating, this is, if you can't help them now, it doesn't mean that they're out of your book of business or they're out of your potential. So what I would do in that scenario is tell them, hey, David, I can't help you right now. You're in the best possible plan, or you're stuck in this plan. I don't have a way to move you. But guess what? October 15th, I'm going to come by and see you. We'll move you then. So pipeline it out, X-date it, whatever you're using as your management system to track your customers and contact them. You want to plug that in there. And if you're using Outlook, create an appointment or a tasker to pop up and tell you, hey, go see David on October 15th. He had ABC company and it's not working good for him. He doesn't like this. We want to put him with this company, and just put all your notes on there and have it pop up and then go see David. You're going to be able to get in there and close it at that point.
So let's talk about the guy right now who sells final expense, and he's in the field right now working his leads. The average final expense agent I deal with is working about 20 or 25 leads a week. Doesn't matter what kind of lead. My question to you is, help these agents understand what actually is possible. How many appointments do you think they could get to sell Medicare Advantage plans? And, what could they really yield out of these people that they see already for final expense to also, improve upon their Medicare Advantage plans?
Let's just do, we'll do simple math. Let's just say they have one appointment a day. So that's 20. No, your guys are doing 5 a day. 5 a day. That's right. 20 to 25 a week.
Let's call it, let's say they're doing 12 appointments a week off of 25 leads. And they won't see all of them, but they'll see, a good agent will see half of them. So let's work with like 2 to 3 a day.
Okay, so we'll do 2, easy math. So we'll do 2. Now, there's a high likelihood that they have Medicare. Okay. There's also a high likelihood that they're in a plan that's working for them. They got in it. It's going to be a toss-up. I mean, I can't say for certain say, hey, you're going to sell 1 out of every 2, because they could be in a good plan. You could be in an area that there's only 1 plan in there, or maybe 2. And so they're already in the best potential plan. There's no way to really know until you get out there and bring out the by the way and do an analysis of what they've got. So, the beauty of the business is that you're going to have, or you should have, every product that's available in your county, and you've got to know the weaknesses of all the plans. Okay, I know how to kill one plan over another, but just killing one over another for a benefit is not really the answer. I got to make sure that, okay, I'm going to help them with this problem over here, but I also got to make sure doctors are in network, medications are in the formulary. I got to make sure my homework is done. So, is there a number? Oh, that's just too hard to say. I mean, I wish I could tell you they're going to strike gold 50% of the time. But I will tell you this, that your guys are already buying leads. They're already in the field. If they want to take the initiative and buy Medicare leads, Medicare supplement leads, then great. They're just doubling their chances. But if they're just doing what they're already doing, all they got to do is just do the by the way. I would have these guys wear a pin. Ask me about Medicare. God, that's as long as they
great idea. I'm gonna have to go ahead and pump out 100 of them and import them from China, and yeah, there he's got it in his.
Hold on here. I thought maybe it might be in my computer bag that I carry all my.
It's being used. That's why I was sitting in the desk, because it works so well.
So it's ask me about Medicare. Just wear that thing, and even if they say, well, why are you wearing that? Oh, well, I'm glad you asked, and let the conversation flow. But back to the answer. Trying to answer your question. Let's say that they've got 2 appointments a day. That's 10. God, it's really hard to say. I'm just running numbers. I'm trying to think in my area.
And the point is I know, as a guy that's strictly final expense, I know that 9 out of 10 of my buyers, just the people who buy, are all on Medicare. And the vast majority of them are on Advantage plans. So it's like, we know that if you do enough activity and you're targeting the right group of people, you'll just stumble across business opportunities. It's just out there. This is a fantastic strategy, because not only are you already selling the final expense opportunities, but you're by default 90% of the time, if not greater, already in front of Medicare. And if you can't help now, you can help later. That's the great thing about this, is it's just the opportunity is either immediate or it's short term. Wait a little while and go back and help them out then too.
And then the other thing is, you work this right. Hey, how can I help your friends that may not be in the plan that you're in, that I've already told you is good? Maybe you're in the best possible plan. I'm going to reaffirm the decision that you made to enroll in that plan. David, you did a great job. This is a plan I would have recommended myself. Awesome choice for you to choose this plan. But I can bet you not all your buddies are on this plan. Here's a stack of my cards. Pass them out. Give them to your friends. Have them call me. Let's get them on your plan, because you know how good it is. So the referrals from that, And then what do you do with a referral? Well, that's a Medicare final expense lead. You do your whole presentation for those guys. Start, it's another way to get your name out there without having to buy or invest more in leads.
Right. And I think you'll find too that Medicare, if you do a really good job helping people, because the nature of Medicare is more immediate, it's not like life insurance. You literally, if you think about life insurance is totally intangible. You have to die to get it, which means you'll never see the benefit. You're just paying a premium for a promise, but nothing substantive like a car to drive. Or Medicare, which is a plan you can actually witness and feel and experience the benefits of. And I think that, to an extent, is more on the minds the more people we see, and is more referable because there's substantive differences in what you can help your people with. So yeah, definitely.
I agree. And if you can take care of these guys, when you do your Medicare 101 presentation and you don't aim above their head with technical terms, you just break it down. I love breaking this thing down. A truck or a car. Who cannot understand that? I don't give them all this technical stuff. I do. It's a truck or car. It's easy for them to understand. So if you teach to their level, make them feel that a lot about Medicare, their referrals will come. And most of my business, again, I do a lot during AEP, but the remainder of my year outside of AEP are referrals. A little while ago, I just shut my Outlook down, but I got a ding. And, hey, can you help my friend out? She just retired. Well, yeah, great. That's the $500 deal. I'll be right over there as soon as we're done here.
So last question here for you.
Okay.
Again, we've talked earlier about you go in and you do your presentation. You got option 1, option 2. On option 1 being Advantage, option 2 being Medicare supplements. The question I would have for you is that some agents have the mentality that selling only Medicare supplements is a superior way to do business as opposed to only selling Medicare Advantage. What's your take on that? Is there one that's better to sell than another? Should you sell both?
You should sell both. Again, you don't want to steer a customer or a lead down one product or the other. You don't want to do that. You want them to tell you, I want the truck or I want the car. Okay, so I love my presentation. It's simple. Let them tell you. But if they tell you that they want a supplement, you need to have some supplement carriers so you can offer that supplement. Okay, now remember, a supplement is not sold by itself. It is paired up with a prescription drug plan. You cannot sell a prescription drug plan without being certified. So you got to have that. You got to have your certifications to offer that anyway. So get a couple of carriers that are strong in your area, that are competitive with the Medicare supplement plans. And there's only 2 that you're going to offer, a G or an F. And they're so easy. I do Gs. That's all I do. I don't do any more Fs. Fs were the way to go years ago. Now everybody's doing the G. There's one little minor difference, but you offer the G. All you got to do is find a carrier that's competitive. And some of your life carriers offer mid-subs. So it's just a matter of getting the button turned on, on the back office side for you to offer the supplements. But have the supplement, have the Advantage plan, and let them tell you which way to go. But you brought up a good point. 90% of the customers have a Medicare Advantage plan. So 9 out of 10 are going to go the Advantage route. 1 out of 10 are going to go the supplement route. Is it better or worse? It's a car or truck thing. That's the easiest way I can explain it. So offer both. I would definitely have both of them.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. And if you'd like to learn more about how to sell Medicare Advantage to either your book of business, or if you're just interested in selling Medicare Advantage as a standalone product, here's what I'd like you to do next. There's a link below. If you will click on that, that will take you to another page where you can learn more information about how our new Medicare Advantage agent program works. I am partnering with Mr. Luis Moreno to teach agents like you to become effective and successful Medicare Advantage agents, whether you're trying to cross-sell your book of business of final expense business, or if you're just looking for an avenue to get into the insurance business. Mr. Moreno has over 900 Medicare Advantage cases written. He has lots of experience training agents new to the business just like you, and we have a predefined, well-established program to teach a neophyte agent, whether they're selling something or not in the insurance business, how to be successful at selling Medicare Advantage. Don't worry if you don't have money for leads either. We can show you free and effective ways to generate Medicare Advantage immediately. So this is something for those of you who are brand new to the insurance business, or you're already selling final expense and you want to learn how to tap into that renewal income that's just so important to have in the world of insurance. So again, here's what to do next. Click the link below. It's going to take you to a form to give you more information about our education, to teach you more about how this opportunity works and what the next steps are to learn about how it all comes together and if it's something that's sensible for you. David Duford here at davidduford.com, where I help insurance agents like you become top producing insurance professionals. Thanks for listening.